Folks, it's that time again. Land Tamer Stream is live. Thank you for stopping by. We're going to talk about some ISIS, among other things. Good to see everyone. So tonight is ISIS. We're going to talk about authentication is where we're going to start. And we're going to talk about some of the material, actually, that I've been using to study ISIS, namely networklessons.com. And I tell you, it's really good. But first, let's see. Yeah, 62 days ago, day 314. Same wallpapers here, folks. They change every 30 minutes. This is new Mojave wallpapers. Pretty cool stuff. Azure Living project. So I spent a good bit of time tweaking this a little bit. As I mentioned, I kind of stopped going to the gym Tuesdays and Thursday mornings early. So I'm using that time now for study and getting in more study. And last night that afforded me the opportunity to really dig into ISIS and work on these VMs a bit. So I actually created in Azure DevOps. They have a project. That's my account, Input Engineer. But I went ahead and, I have repos here. I probably showed this before. They also have in here like a sprint backlog. So I went ahead and started up a sprint backlog on this. This thing just keeps growing. So I figured, let me go ahead and do sprints and let's do some planning and, work through it. So that's what I'm doing with this. I decided to go ahead and create the sprint. We got a little Kanban board. Of course, there's no teamwork here. It's just me, at least for the moment. And I was able to finally get the bigger VM built. I had some problems with the template because I kept trying to do, actually let's go to the builds. See all these attempts to deploy that failed? I kept having to, update different things because I'm trying to add some storage, another storage account. Anyway, I just had some problems because I found out also that my my subscription that I have doesn't allow me to authenticate accounts automatically to the deployment, to the DevOps deployment. And so I can't create, in Azure, there are things at the subscription level. You have like your directory, your subscription. Then below your subscription, you have your resource groups. And then below resource groups is where you have all your objects, your virtual machines, your firewalls, your network security groups, your VNets. So that's kind of the hierarchy, but because of the special type of subscription I have, it doesn't allow me to deploy things automatically at the subscription level. So I was trying not to manually have to create anything. Trying to make all this automated, building the VM, etc. So I'm able to do it if I manually create the resource group. So unfortunately, there's just no way really around that based on the subscription level I have. So the template does not do that, but everything else it's done. So I've got it now where it's using a different size VM. I've got an even bigger VM. I found the biggest VM I can really use in my subscription. I already closed it, but yeah, this thing is going to have, let me make sure I deployed the right one. And of course, it's not turned on right now. Let's see, virtual machines. Yeah, this is the new one. And it is 20 vCPUs, 160 gig of RAM. This is the E20S V3. So that is the VM I want to try out. And I think I saw this other one was running. I can stop it. Yeah, we can stop him. I figured out that I need to do the, oh, is it still running? No, stop. Yes. I'm going to be doing ISIS, and there was some, I don't know, there's still some things to figure out with that, and I want to do packet captures, which means I need to use Pro. until I figure out how to use my Mac with Community Edition and Wireshark captures. And that's the case regardless of whether it is in Azure or local. You know, it's a function of the operating system in the Mac. And I've since, loaded, I'm on now OS X High Sierra, which has different restrictions. So anyway, that needs to be worked out. But yeah, I was finally able to deploy. And yeah, I called it Even G20 for 20 CPUs with VM and a new storage account. What I'm going to use the storage account for is I'm going to automate uploading of the images. So I'm going to have a private storage account here. And with Azure, I have a diagnostics. Actually, that wasn't named the way I expected. Yeah, you could just do files here, tables, queues, or blob storage, which is REST-based, which I want to try to use this. I think I can use SCP with either of these in a Linux VM. But I want to provision it automatically and automatically upload the images that I'm going to need. So, that being said, let's go ahead and create a new lab here. Oh, that's my VM. Never mind. I need to start up the local one. Yeah, I got a lot done, folks. Using network lessons curriculum here, the course, the CCIE routing and switching written course. Let's start this guy. Put him over here. Well, we'll put him here. And we'll put this on the main screen. There we go. And there's dude for him. I posted a screenshot on Discourse, the ISIS interface commands. Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm learning about ISS. It's very new to me, so interface changes ISIS password. ISIS authentication. Okay, I don't see area here. ISIS interface authentication commands. Yeah, so anyway, let's capture that dude for him. Let's make sure. Right, area password is router process. That's what it seems. In fact, it strikes me as odd that apparently the only way, which I guess it makes sense. Let me think this through. So the logic that I've been able to determine, and this is where I'm at, folks, just to get caught up. So as I mentioned yesterday, once I finished fundamental routing concepts, which I did yesterday, I finished offline the IPsec authentication and encryption. And once I finish that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to jump around here. And we're going to go right to ISIS because our time is limited, 62 days. And I really need to get to units 4, 5, and 6. I need to hit these hard. So I'm over here at ISIS. I've only ever done one lab, and that is related to adjacencies, and I made up myself. But I have to say, this introduction to ISIS by Renee Molinar, this is the best thing I've ever read explaining ISIS. I mean, you could tell that he took some, I don't know if he took some time on this or had some good editors or he's just a brilliant. But the technical writing here is second to none. Like I've read about ISIS. I'm not even going to name off all the different places I have read up on ISIS just to prepare for this written exam, which I've failed twice. But this really helped me. Like, now, granted, if I would have read this first, it might not have made such an impression on me. Maybe due to the fact that I have read about ISS already from other authors and just coming here. But man, this was really, really well done. The illustrations and everything else. So it was a long introduction, but I read that last night in around like 12 o'clock at night, I started doing some of these labs, or 11, more like 11. So I started doing the authentication. I did the integrated ISIS configuration. I actually did the lab here. This is a good lab because it walks through in a lot of detail how the adjacencies work, how the routing, how the LSPs work. Very well done. And I thank you, sir, Mr. Rene Molinar, because, man, this has helped me more than anything else so far on ISIS. Then I got to authentication, so I was jamming. It's like 11:30. Okay, let's keep going. So I started doing these authentication labs. And granted, I only got to plain clear text. So what I plan to do now is finish this lab by doing the HMAC MD5 authentication, which is the other option you get with ISIS. So I want to do that now. And this is what I learned so far, which is kind of confusing to me. In a way. So yesterday we talked about OSPF v3 authentication, right? And there was also something else related to the interface as well. In other words, there are some configurations that have to be done at the interface level, and there are some configurations that can be done in global configuration mode. We found that, if I recall, I'm getting a little bit of it with OSPF v3. And what we found there is, of course, that there are two. In OSPF v3, there is authentication and there's encryption of the payload. Authentication is essentially of the adjacency, right? And the hellos. And it is hash, so you can't read it, right? We saw that yesterday of the header. And we found that this is a hellos, and it's a trailer. I want to say header trailer, but I should look at that again, I think, actually. Let's pull up our PCAPs, because I have a number of new PCAPs, some from last night, right? Okay, here's authentication header. Pull these bad boys up, because I want to kind of lead. We know there are a lot of similarities between OSPF in general and ISIS. So here is something going to FFO2::1, right? And we have our ICMP. Okay, we don't care about that. We want, okay, yeah, this is encapsulating security payload. FEO2. That's not really giving me what I need. Let me try this one. Yeah, I know the purpose of one of these was just to kind of verify that you cannot even really tell this is OSPF, right? Let's look at an example though, and then we'll jump into ISIS. So this is kind of by way of review of OSPF v3 authentication from yesterday. OSPF v3 authentication PCAP. Yep, we had one here. It's OSPF v3. The adjacent R2 subnets configured with IPsec AH authentication. Note the inclusion of an IPsec AH header immediately following the IPv6 header of each OSPF packet. Okay, here we go. FO2::5 is a destination. And here's an authentication header. Okay, the trailer was something else. The authentication trailer is if you use the new additional feature of OSPF v3 authentication, which is HMAC SHA. I don't think that is not really covered as part of the that's not covered as part of the blueprint, but that is actually a feature you can use now. This is impractical for a lot of implementations of IPv6 OSPF v3 with authentication, mobile networks, for example. So there's a new method where you can, because this is kind of hard to see what's going on, right? Especially if you do encryption. But the OSPF trailer is, or the authentication trailer can be used. It's kind of a shim. There's a bit that gets set in the header that tells you to look in the trailer to authenticate. Anyway, okay, so I think with that configuration, let's look at the configuration that we did yesterday. What I'm getting at is interface level versus global level, right? And I know that with OSPF, I think no matter what, that you had to do the authentication was it the type? Let's see. Yeah, it was under fundamental routing concepts. Routing protocol authentication. Interesting, ISIS, of course, is not included here. In fact, some people were asking about this in the forum comments. Okay, yeah, this is saying it's also possible to configure authentication for the entire area. If you want this, you'll have to use area 0 authentication command. Okay, so maybe it wasn't. Okay, let me think about this. I'm getting a little confused in my head here. So, all right, let's say you have OSPF v3 area or a router instance. Router OSPF v3 1, right? So you can configure area configuration here or interface level. Yeah, which you might need because you could have within an OSPF area, you could have connections to different sort of different administrative domains, right? So one group kind of controls the routers over here, another group kind of controls the routers over here. So, and then you have some other routers that you control exclusively. So in those cases, you may have to use interface level configuration on your authentication, right? That was a use case for that. And every protocol really has that, should, I think, has that capability, right? Well, at least in terms of interface level configuration. I think, of course, with OSPF v3, you have an area, because that is another administrative area, right? So with EIGRP, I know I'm getting a little off my original topic here, but now I have it in my head. I want to go back and review that real quick. We need a table, really. We need a table for all these different authentication types. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little chart. Authentication. Do I have anything in here? Yeah, the message types. I don't have 3 on there, but 3 is IPsec. So we kind of need a new little chart here. And let's just say protocol. Interface level. Process level. And I'm going to even say domain level. Plain text. MD5. HMAC SHA. In fact, let's do a different, let's take this out. Let's do a new sheet here. So we'll start with RIP. RIP NG. EIGRP. EIGRP v6. OSPF v2. OSPF v3. ISIS. PGP. Okay. RIP at the interface level. Let me go into the, well, let's start. I'm not going to fill all this out on stream. I'm going to at least do this part. OSPF v3, yes. You also have yes. In OSPF, it's called an area. Let's just say see, in OSPF, we have an area, right? In ISIS, you have an area as well, so that works there. Come back. What just happened there? Stop. It'll zoom in, but it won't let you zoom out with the same mouse function. I don't like that. All right, so this has area. But we got to put a star here because we're going to have a lot of stars. Area authentication in ISIS, from what we've seen, is only LSPs and SP. SPFs, is that what it's called? I forget. I'm gonna have to go to Twitter to see that again. These are new terms for me, so SNPs. are optional. And we're going to say authentication, encryption. This supports it. And it is via IPsec. Okay, ISIS, yes. However, what I found is that the interface level is hellos. Yeah, let's do it like that. Same with domain level. Plain text is not supported. It is supported here. I think plain text is only supported in it's supported in OSPF v2. And I believe RIP. Let's see. I know I'm bouncing around a little bit, folks. This is a lot to take in. We'll get it there, though. We'll get it figured out. I'm going to go back to that section on authentication. Yeah, MD5 and SHA. So we know EIGRP supports this. We'll come back to EIGRP v6. That wasn't really reviewed in this lesson. We know that it's supported here. We know that this is supported here. This is supported here. I meant to do this. And yes, this is sort of. I'm just going to put that there for now. And plain text is not supported here. Yeah, this was not covered in RIP. Okay, we'll build on this as time goes. But this is what I want to really hone in on here. And I haven't done MD5 yet. I know it is supported. That's the lab we're about to do. But yeah, if you want your hellos authenticated, you can only do that at the interface level here. And you cannot turn on LSP authentication at the interface level that I'm aware. Let's go and get our lab started. Let's move him over here. Yeah, that's enough screens. All right. Yeah, I did the ISIS on on the VM in the cloud, but let's do IS authentication, 2 routers. Two, thank you. And just for practice, I'm going to, I'm going to try not to copy paste here. I'm just going to type everything into the routers. Last night the lab was really cool. Like I had, it was only 4 routers, but they were different. Got different levels configured, level configurations. I just really enjoyed it. All right, why does this look strange? There we go. Start up. I thought I'd started them. Okay, yeah, we're gonna be doing MD5. Hey, show, thanks, man. Appreciate it, bud. Sending you good bits for your labs. So yeah, we're gonna do, we did plain text, now we're gonna do MD5. I really don't think there are any differences in, like in terms of how the authentication is done, whether interface level, area level, or domain level. This took me a little getting used to, again, thinking about it last night. The fact that the domain level in ISIS, when it's referring to the domain, it's talking about, you know, what number, what domain number are you using for your router IDs. So we're going to be using 49.0000, well, 00 and the area. Then the router number. So we're going to be 001 and 002. And the area that they're using here, I'm not sure. I think it's like 12 or something. 12, yeah. And these 2 routers are going to be in the same area. So it's just going to be host name R1, interface chat 01, IP address 192.168.12.1, IP router ISIS, router ISIS, and then log adjacency changes. And router 2 is going to be pretty much the same. Interface, yeah, 0.1, IP address 192.168.12.2. IP router ISIS, no shut. Router ISIS, net 49.0.0.12. And log adjacency changes. Which it will not do. Like, unlike most of the routing protocols, it will not log adjacency changes by default. So you pretty much want to turn that on every time, right? Router ISIS. Net 49.0.0.12. And log. Okay, pretty simple. Let's create a loopback for fun, at least. Because we just think loopbacks are just awesome, right? We just have so much fun with loopbacks. Where would we be in this world without our loopbacks? 2.2.2.2. IP router ISIS. I need to put that on here. I have to log adjacency changes at the interface level. Don't I? No, that's global. Okay, so we should get our adjacencies. Neighbors up. Probably gonna take it a second. And then I'm gonna skip down to the part where I left off last night, which is the MD5, HMAC MD5 authentication. As it says here in the lesson, clear text authentication is fun, but not very safe. Okay, so interesting. With MD5, there are two options for authentication: interface and instance. Hey, we have a level 1 ISIS route, so good deal. Oh, it's CLNP, yeah. Show IP CLNP. What am I doing wrong there? I want to see my neighbor. Show IP. Oh, it's just CLNP, yeah. Because ISIS can carry multiple protocol types, right? CLNS. There we go. L1, L2, which is the default. Okay, so now let's look at the authentication options here. Yeah, there is no area and no domain authentication. There's only interface and yet another instance. Okay, this is getting even more confusing. So the answer here is yes, plain or MD5. We almost need a chart just for ISIS. Yes, hellos, plain or MD5. I don't know any shorter way to put it. Area, yes, plain. Yes, plain. Instance, yes. Area level. Why are you green? Instance level. All right, so for, like we do in the other protocols, we need to use a keychain. So, hi, I'm interested in you. Can you teach me from Teddy, Tony's son? Yes, of course, Teddy. We can teach you all about networking, little man. I see you're learning to use the chat too, which is great. Twitch chat. Glad to have you here with us, Teddy. Keeping us company. Yeah, we're just configuring some router stuff like what your dad does all the time. We're going to do a keychain, so not just anybody can break into our router. You got to have legitimate, you got to have a key to get to the router. Hey, you're very welcome. So we're going to configure our key, right? Keychain ISIS underscore auth. Key 1. Just like we would configure it on it for any protocol, right? So it's just a generic keychain configuration. The name of the keychain number can be different. Unlike most protocols, the key number is not checked. Interesting. So let's make a note of that too. Man, this thing is going to be keychain number match. Required. Oh, not required. Okay, so we're going to start by using this keychain at the interface level. So interface JS01, ISIS authentication mode. Ah, interesting. Okay, I didn't even know this command was here for clear text. Okay, yeah, because ISIS password command that one only works obviously for clear text, but we can change the mode here. I wonder if that enables authentication. Okay, yeah, we have to tell it which keychain to use, right? Keychain ISIS auth. And we should drop adjacency here. Yep, there's our message. LAN IIH authentication failed. I need to get more familiar with what the IIH messages are. Interface Jazz01, ISIS authentication key. Now it should come back up. Yep. New adjacency, okay. By the way, we can do here the different levels, just like we do for clear text, which is cool. And this is another case where you have a router that you're managing, and you have maybe a customer, different customers, and you have a backbone, might be your level 2 connection. Obviously, you're going to want to use different keychains depending on which door you're using, right? And you have that option, at least level 1 and level 2. And again, this is only going to impact the hello packets. So let's capture that. And I'm really interested now. I want to go back and fill out that chart. And I'm trying to remember now in the other protocols exactly what it is that it is authenticating, because in a lot of cases, with the exception, of course, of OSPF v3, you're really only authenticating the adjacency, right? Which is generally just the hello packets. But yeah, that's something I want to verify. I'm going to try to fill that chart out tonight and publish it. Okay, so here we have, let's grab one of the hello packets. We have CSNPs here, but let's just look at the hello. Oh, this is another thing that cracked me up. The way they spell routing. R-U-T-E-I-N-G. It's because it's the ISO, right? That's another thing. The ISIS was an ISO standard, not like the IEEE. Routing. We should see it here. Here's the authentication. Type length, and then we have a message digest. Cool. So if this doesn't match, like, I'm still going to be able to read these packets, these CSNP, completed sequence numbers, protocol data units. Here's our LSP entries. We should have... that's not what I want. LSP ID. Yeah, where's my prefix in here? Oh, I think I have to trigger it. Yeah, I think with ISIS you have to trigger the prefix updates, because generally it's going to try to send you all the LSPs in a single message. You can trigger it with a change. So yeah, you have... Yeah, you can trigger it with a change. Let's start up our capture again. Let's just see if the LSP information, like what prefixes does this router advertising? Let's see if we're going to be able to sniff that, even though authentication is enabled. We should be able to. It shouldn't be a problem. So we're going to do L interface L11. And IS or router ISIS. No, that's not the command. Interface L11. IP. All right, so we should get, here's LSPs, CSNPs. Let's see if he has it. No, don't do that. Stop. He has it, yeah. So let's take a look. Type 2. Start LSP ID, end LSP ID. Yeah, I really don't know how to interpret these. Here we go. Here's my area address, 49.012, protocol supported. NLP ID is, here's my host name. IS reachability, type 2. His neighbor, IP interface addresses. Okay, so we can already see, here's a prefix. Okay, yeah, see it sends its full prefix table. What message type is this? It's LSP. It's flat out LSP. Okay. I don't know what the CSNPs are, but hopefully we'll get more familiar with this as the lessons go on. But yeah, LSP is what I was looking for, and obviously authentication is we're only authenticating the hello packets. So we've confirmed that. I'm going to save this to my collection. ISIS, MD5, authentication, interface. Cool. All right, so moving right along here. That is interface level. Now we're going to do it via the instance, whatever that means. Okay, it's at the global in other words, it's the routing instance. So router ISIS, authentication mode MD5, authentication keychain. Okay, there's really no difference here. Ah, but it failed. Check it out. Oh, okay. So guess what this does? Authentication mode MD5. Authentication. This is kind of bizarre. I'm sure people a lot smarter than me had really good reasons to do this. Notice what happened there. When I turned on instance area authentication, or instance level authentication, I all of a sudden got a fail on my LSPs and CSMPs. Not on my hellos. And that is because instance level is MD5, LSPs, and SNPs. So, again, you can combine these together in order to authenticate both. But there is not a command that will do it all. So this says fail. I did not get a message over here. I wonder if they're working now. Okay, again, you can do the levels here as well. Interesting. So I wonder what would happen if you turned on. Is it possible to turn on domain, have a different? Like how many of these can you combine at the same time? We're about to find out. First, let's check our packet captures. So we should now be seeing both hello packets authenticated and the actual LSP updates. So hellos, authentication. Yep, we have an MD5. Now our CSNPs. Authentication is turned on. So we're still going to be able to sniff the entries, but we're not going to be able, even if we try to inject garbage into the router, we will have to authenticate, right? Okay, this is a hello. Yeah, so let's generate a LSP here. Let's add a. Actually, I think we can do a interface GI0 1 shut and a no shut. And that will get us an LSP packet. There we go. There it is, authentication. Yep. So it's, if we don't have the password used for the key, then we're not going to be able to really inject garbage, right, into garbage routes. So cool, good stuff. I'm going to save that one too. IS MD5 instance level authentication. Okay. So yeah, and again, just to highlight the difference here, for area level, with ISIS, we're talking about these numbers. And with domain level, we're talking about the number in front of the dot. So you can be in the same domain as another ISIS router, but not in the same level, right? You could be in level 2, or sorry, not level, but area. So you could be the same domain, different area, and still be exchanging routes with another router, right? Okay, so we see here too that the MD5, that's actually the best. When you turn it on the interface level and the instance level, you get the best level of protection. So, all right, my next lesson on ISIS is DIS and pseudonode. So what I'm going to do the rest of the evening is I'm going to work on that chart, and then I'm going to start working on the rest of the ISIS lessons. So thanks for hanging out, folks. That is actually, so I'm going to ask this question in review. This is going to be my trivia question, but we've kind of answered it. Which of the following commands will enable plain text authentication of ISIS hello packets? And of course, that is the none of these, not area, not domain, not this other area, but it is at the interface level. So that's going to wrap it up, folks, for tonight. Thanks for hanging out for this hour. The rest of the stuff is going to be pretty boring. I'm going to be reading, so I'm not going to stream all that. But wish everybody the best. It's Tuesday. Hope you had a good Monday and Tuesday. Tomorrow's hump day. Before you know it, this week will be done. So let's use the time we have to sally forth in our studies. Thanks for those who joined in the chat. Appreciate it. And wishing everybody good bits in your labs, in all your labs. And we shall see you back here tomorrow, same time, here in the Land Tamer stream. Have a good night.